All right, well, anytime you move to a new state, you're sure gonna find things that you were not expecting. Our move from the Midwest was absolutely no different coming out here to the greater Tacoma area. We were able to prepare for most things, but there were a few that we didn't find on the internet and have stood out to me as 5 of the weirdest things that we learned moving out to Tacoma. So if you want to learn more about that, stick around. Hey, if you want to know everything there is to know about living in the greater Tacoma area, smash that subscribe button. And if you're thinking about making a move in the next 3 days or 3 months out to Washington, shoot us a phone call, text, or an email. Even better, hit that Zoom link and schedule time for us to meet face to face. Love to help you make a smooth move out here to Tacoma, Washington. Number 1 on our list, you can't go pee anywhere. Yeah, you heard that completely correct. All of my life growing up, I've traveled across the country, been north to south, east to west, and on these trips, sometimes you gotta hit the bathroom. I was completely shocked to move here and find out that almost no public restrooms are available. Talking with a friend of mine who's a longtime real estate broker here, actually up north of Seattle, he told me he's actually peed almost yearly in a Gatorade bottle while stuck in traffic. That's right, you're not gonna be able to pop into a gas station and get that sweet relief. Better make sure the kiddos are using the toilet before you head out of the house. If you are lucky, you can probably find someplace that has a for customers only that will make you prove and have a receipt in order to use the toilet. But gone are the days at pulling over at the 7-Eleven, walking in and using the restroom. Now, obviously, having 5 kids personally, doing a lot of traveling and being in real estate, I'm on the road a lot. So I was lucky enough to find a hack for this. That hack is the grocery store. That's right, pretty much every grocery store has a public restroom that you can slide in, sneak into, and use the potty. But here's the thing, even those typically have hours on them, something like 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. See, the reality is people go into public restrooms and do a lot of things that they probably shouldn't be doing. And this isn't just talking about drug usage or people who might be, unhoused trying to stay there. We're also talking about graffiti, just trashing the place, using restrooms for shoplifting. So we're seeing a huge crackdown in the area on people that are just a little uncomfortable with the risk associated with leaving a restroom open 24/7. So when you move out here, know where the closest Safeway is. That'll save you. Number 2, a little bit of a head scratcher. Kids wear a lot of pajamas to school. Now this might not be like crazy, but we weren't even allowed to wear a baseball cap into school. And I might be dating myself here, and I'm not saying that any kids are bad because they, want to wear their PJs to school. I mean, we had Spirit Day, and man, on Spirit Day, you bet your ass I was finding the flyest pajamas. I'd be rocking them Transformers, the Ninja Turtles. As I got older, the Chicago Bulls with maybe like Jordan printed on it. But we're talking day-to-day flannel footy pajamas. We're talking about the fleece Christmas pants on a Tuesday. Again, I don't know that it actually affects schooling, but for me, I really feel like with my kids, my job is to raise them to get ready for the outside world. And while we just had a phase with the pandemic, which I think we all kind of probably set in our pajamas a little too much. Getting them back into the real world, I want them dressed. And I'm cool with sweatpants, gym shorts. You'll even see me in videos rocking joggers and things like that. There is a long list of items that used to be a no-go in the school systems now that are very, very comfortable. People are very comfortable wearing them here in the greater Tacoma area to school. And what I see the most is pajamas. So if you move out here and you start hearing your kid requesting some Hello Kitty fleece bottoms, I wouldn't say they're probably just for the house. They're probably to get fly for the classroom. Next, homeless people out here are different. Back where I came from, when you would roll up to a stop sign, someone who was unhoused would rush your car. They would be very aggressive with panhandling. They would be very in your face. I've seen this definitely in the Midwest and in the Texas region. But out here, the unhoused operate completely different. And I know this is a hot political item, and that is not the point of this video, is to get into the politics or to discuss how we're going to handle it or what we like or what we don't like about it. It's just simply to make the point that one of the things that kind of shocked me and seemed kind of weird just because of how I grew up was the unhoused here. They really keep to themselves. They have their own type of community. They're minding their own business. They are living their own life. They really don't want to be in your face. They're not a lot of times out begging for money or trying to pull one over on you. They're really just kind of living life like everybody else, but they're unhoused. Now, obviously, you have situations that deviate from that, where if someone is unhealthy or has some kind of mental disability or something like that, that could affect a big change. But I was very uncomfortable always growing up with unhoused people bum rushing our cars, being super aggressive. And if you're coming from an area like that, I think it's going to really change your perspective. While a lot of people talk about the homeless crisis in the West Coast, it is still in your face. You still do see it, but they're not operating in the same way. They're just living their life. They just happen to live, unhoused. So one of the great things about it is most of them are very friendly, very kind, and it's a completely different environment of the unhoused population from what I ever experienced. Number 4, friends, those Midwest and Southern niceties, they're not tolerated. This was a huge one for me that I thought, this is kind of weird. But living out here on the West Coast, the places that you move from and the places that you move to are completely different. There are the pros and the cons. There are cultural differences. And I was raised in a household where, people used a lot of, I guess what you would call maybe like pet names, maybe like hun or babe, or, ladies would call men sweetheart. And moving out here to the West Coast, I quickly found that even the word hun was really not tolerated in this general region. In fact, honestly, with the climate that we live in, sir and ma'am really don't even seem to work over well. I kind of really find myself using more of the term excuse me or please. Not everyone out here is offended by everything, but there is a lot of uproar on how we communicate and how people identify on the West Coast. So as someone who always grew up being called, sweetheart by the waitress, now I get what would you like. It just seems like a colder type of environment, but it's the reality of the situation, and it is what it is. Let me ask you, what do you think? Do you think the West Coast has it right by eliminating pet names like sweetheart, hun, babe, or do you think that's a little too sensitive for your liking? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, and the last one. This one just seemed crazy to me because of where we live at now, but really no one here uses umbrellas. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you've seen multiple times where I've talked about the weather out here being one of the biggest negative factors. The rain, the drizzle, the wetness, the gray, but you will almost never see anyone using an umbrella. In fact, so much so it's like a staple of pride. You can essentially point out a tourist when you see someone with an umbrella. Here's what I can tell you. The only thing I can really think of is that when the winds come in and the wind picks up, it's going to turn that dang thing inside out anyways. So you're not going to have an umbrella left. But it will shock you. You can walk right through downtown Seattle. You can see it pouring rain, and people will tell you, all we need out here is a hoodie. So listen, there's a lot of very unique things about living in Washington. Some are good, some are bad, some are just completely indifferent, but they are different nonetheless. And these 5 things might have really stood out to me as some really pinnacle differences as to where I came from. But look, when you make your move out here, you are going to find your own unique changes, and you are going to see things that are different. And I just want to encourage you to accept that state. Understand that when you move to Washington, it's not going to be like Kansas, it's not going to be like Connecticut, and it's not going to be like Florida. Things are going to be different. You're going to like some things, and you're going to hate some things. But it's a beautiful place to live. There's so much to do, incredible housing, and an incredible community out here. So look, whether you're looking at making your move out here in the next 3 days or 3 months, just shoot us a phone call, text, or an email. Like I said, even better, set up that Zoom so we can help you make that smooth move out here. And until next time, cannot wait till you're out here so we can show you around.